I don't think training on its own is enough. But let me caveat that first of all. So I'm a learning and development lifer, 25 years in-house working in a range of L&D roles, everything from designing and delivering training, facilitating, exec coaching, team coaching, business partnering, talent development, career pathways, you name it, and I pretty much did it. And in that time, what I loved delivering training for people, absolutely loved it. But I also realized that training really wasn't enough to make a difference to performance and productivity. So I wanted to share a little bit about the learning that I've come across, some of the things that I do differently now to help. And I'm not talking about disregarding training at all. I'm talking about training and other things. So why do I think that training isn't enough? Well, let's first of all shift our focus and think away from training and think understanding why businesses invest in training and development in the first place. So ultimately, our goal when we're doing any kind of development is to help the business get the performance and the productivity that it needs. So a lot of people who are heavily involved in learning and development really focusing so much on the training that they offer, getting the training right and getting the right content in a training program, they miss the opportunity to think more broadly and take a step back. Training is not a panacea, it's not a cure-all, and yet companies still tend to default to running training programs and running workshops, thinking that it's going to make the difference, that it's going to magically make performance improve. There's so much more that goes into it. So I think it's worth, first of all, just having a look through at what it is that makes a real difference to performance. It's a really helpful acronym to start thinking about the levers, the things that we need to focus on. I'm going to be using an example throughout this workshop about management development, purely because most people in most organizations will be focusing on management development at some point. So what does KISME actually stand for? Well, first of all, it is about having the knowledge to be able to do something. So if in management development context, it's people knowing how to manage people. And yes, you can absolutely get that through a training program. Of course you can. And you can also get it through articles, reading books, watching videos. So you can get that knowledge elsewhere. It's one element that you can cover in training, but it's also an area you can get elsewhere. Second component is the insight. If people don't have the right insight on what it means to manage people and how they're managing people effectively, training on its own isn't going to be effective. So training can help here because it can help lay out some standards or expectations for managing in your organization, in your context. And you can also be just really clear about what you expect of managers in their role. And people can understand their impact absolutely through practical elements on a training program. And they can also learn that from getting really good, clear feedback from people, whether it's peers, whether it's their direct reports, or whether it's their manager. We need people to have knowledge and insight to be able to shift the dial on their performance. And we also need them to have the right skills. That's being able to manage people productively. It's not enough just to have the knowledge and the insight about what they should do and understand their impact. They need to have the skills, whether that's on something like giving people feedback, holding effective one-to-ones, but managing people, learning to manage people productively and learning the skills for that. Yes, they can be covered on a training program. Of course they can. And it could also be through getting hands-on experience on the job, through deputizing for people, for example. Then, this is quite a crucial one that's often overlooked. If people aren't in the right mindset to manage effectively, that's going to put a huge blocker. So you could have the knowledge, you could have the insight, you could have the skills, but if fundamentally people don't want to manage people, or if they don't have the confidence to manage people, that's going to be a real blocker. Training can help with those, but also it's about thinking about how people might be rewarded and recognized and valued for managing. You'll all know it takes time to do it well. And yet a lot of organizations, they'll reward and recognize people for key task-based goals, but not necessarily reward and recognize and value them for being great managers. If we don't have people who've got the right mindset and approach to managing, it's not going to shift their performance. In addition to training, which can help, We also might need to think more broadly about how they're valued. And we also might need to think about some additional support, maybe one-to-one support, to help overcome their particular challenges and problems. And the last one is the environment that they're in. Now, this is such a broad area. This could mean the culture that they're working in, the systems, the tools, the processes and everything that are in the organisation that they work in. If the environment's right, it means that they're able to and want to manage the people in the environment that they work in. And this can cause loads and loads and loads of problems. So well, remember when I was saying that I used to be more focused just on training programs. My approach now is to work in partnership with businesses to help them understand what else could be causing the barriers, the blockers, the challenges to performance and productivity. A quick example of some of those things might be that managers have got so many bureaucratic processes to follow that they lose the will to live. Have you ever been in organizations like that, where you've just got so much that's thrown at you? It's so difficult to do anything. Even signing off expenses is difficult. There's layer upon layer of processes that get in the way. Or sometimes people just don't have the tools to do the right job, or the systems are clunky. All of those things combined. Oh, one more to include here, and this is one that I see really often, is when leaders in organizations don't lead really effectively. They don't role model best practice. And that can cause lots of challenges for people where they're thinking, well, actually, if I'm not experiencing good management myself, why should I? So loads of things in the environment itself can lead managers to not perform at their best. There's so many things at play. And that's why I think it's so important to look broader than training. So rather than seeing training as a panacea, something that's going to get brand new managers up and running straight away, we also need to think, have they got the insights? Do they know what's expected of them? Are they aware of their impact? Are they confident? Do they have the confidence in their own ability? And do they have the right tools, support and system to enable them to manage as effectively as possible?